All right, let's dive into a story I think you'll find fascinating. It's about how a small grocery chain went from being totally buried in data chaos to building a seriously powerful predictive strategy. Their journey kicks off with a problem that, let's be honest, almost every growing business hits: the dreaded spreadsheet mess.
Excel spaghetti. We've all been there, right? It's that tangled, chaotic web of different spreadsheets for sales, for products, for stores, promotions, you name it. And look, for a tiny business, it kind of works for a while. But as this grocery chain scaled up to 10 stores, that spaghetti became a massive roadblock. They just couldn't get straight answers to simple questions because their data was all over the place.
So this slide really shows the two worlds they were caught between. Over on the left, you've got the chaos. Countless spreadsheets, the same information copied in 10 different places, and so many wasted hours. On the right, that's the goal. That's the dream, a single source of truth. One clean database, ready for reliable analytics and even predictive models. The journey from that left side to the right is what this is all about.
So how do you even start? Where do you begin? Well, the first, most critical step is building a solid foundation. This is where you finally untangle all that spaghetti and create a proper, well-designed database schema.
It really boils down to 4 key moves. First, you have to model the data, which is just a fancy way of saying you sketch out a blueprint based on what's in all those spreadsheets. Second, you normalize it. You got to structure the data to get rid of all the duplicate info and make it more reliable. Third, you actually build that design in a solid open-source database like Postgres. And finally, you load the data, very carefully, moving it from the old mess into its new, clean, organized home.
And here's a super simple look at that blueprint. This is the heart of the new structure. Instead of one giant monster spreadsheet, the data is now organized into these separate logical buckets, or entities. So you have one for stores, another one for products, a really important one for every single sales transaction, and even a special calendar table just to analyze sales by day or by holiday. See, everything has its proper place now.
And here's where things get really modern. The team used AI as a sort of sidekick. A large language model can actually propose different database designs, what we call entity relationship diagrams, or ERDs. But, and this is the crucial part, the human expert is still in charge. They're the ones comparing the AI's ideas against their own design to make the final, smart, validated decision.
Okay, so the database is built. The structure is there. Now the team can shift gears from wrangling the structure to wrangling the actual data inside it. Welcome to the great data cleanup. So the data is all in one place, it's organized, problem solved, right? We can all go home? Well, not so fast. This is where the real, and let's be honest, kind of unglamorous work of data science really begins.
Because lurking inside that shiny new database are all these hidden traps. I'm talking about missing values, duplicate sales records, product categories that are spelled just slightly differently over time, weird timestamp issues, and imagine this. One store records weight in pounds, and another one uses kilograms. If you don't catch and fix that, your entire analysis is going to be completely, totally wrong.
And this all points to a fundamental truth in this field. Your insights are only as good as your data. It's that simple. Without this intense cleanup phase, any prediction or analysis you run would be built on a shaky foundation of errors, and that could lead to some really costly business mistakes. Trustworthy data is the bedrock of trustworthy results. Period. And hey, guess who's back? Our AI sidekick. For tricky problems like missing data, an AI can suggest a bunch of different ways to fill in the gaps. These are the imputation candidates. But again, it's not on autopilot. It's the data scientist's job to select the best method and then use statistics to prove that the fix actually makes sense in the real world.
All right, with a clean, trustworthy foundation finally in place, the grocery chain can do something really exciting. They can shift their focus from just looking backwards at old data to actually looking ahead and predicting the future. This is where the magic happens.
And you start seeing the payoffs right away. This simple chart shows something that management probably felt in their gut was true, but now they can prove it with cold, hard data. The impact of holidays on sales is absolutely massive. We're talking almost double the daily average. For things like staffing and inventory, this is a total game changer.
So, what else is pulling the strings on demand? Now, with clean, structured data, they can start analyzing all these different factors. They can see exactly how sales change on a Tuesday versus a Saturday, how a hot day sends ice cream sales soaring, which promotions actually work, and how shopping habits are totally different from one store to the next.
Now, to turn all these amazing insights into an actual forecast, the team looked at two main paths. On one side, you have time series models. They're perfect for spotting stable trends and seasonal patterns just by looking at past sales data. But on the other side, you've got machine learning models. These can uncover way more complex relationships by throwing dozens of factors like weather and holidays and promotions into the mix all at once.
And now we get to the absolute peak of this whole data journey. With this new predictive power, the chain can finally start tackling the really big, million-dollar questions about its customers and, its profitability.
And a huge question for them was this. A whopping 40% of their customers are in the membership program. Now that's a big investment to maintain. So the question is it actually paying off? Is it really changing how people shop?
Well, the data provides a crystal clear, powerful answer. Just look at this difference. Members visit nearly twice as often. We're talking 3.2 times a month versus 1.8. Their average basket size jumps from $35 to $52. And this is huge. Their spending in high-margin categories, like organic produce, almost doubles. The program isn't just working, it's a massive success. And they can take it even one step further with a really cool technique called uplift modeling. This basically lets them measure the true impact of a marketing campaign. It isolates the sales that happened only because of the promotion, separating them from what those customers would have bought anyway. It is the absolute key to understanding your true return on investment.
And all of this brings us to the final and I think most important takeaway from this whole story. This journey, from spaghetti to strategy, it isn't a one-time project. It's not a destination you just arrive at and you're done. No, it's a continuous cycle. It's what you call a flywheel. You start with clean data, which lets you generate insights and forecasts. Those insights, in turn, lead to better business decisions, like staffing up for a big holiday weekend. But those better decisions make you ask new, even smarter questions. And that sends you right back to the beginning, needing to collect even more or maybe different kinds of data. It's a beautiful cycle of constant improvement.
Which leaves us with this one final thought. I mean, think about it. They went from drowning in spreadsheets to being able to predict demand and truly understand who their best customers are. They've built the engine for data-driven growth. So the only real question left is, what should they ask it to do next?